folks, here on the latest edition of Steady Droppin Dimes. And I want to, first of all, say thank you to the people. Thank you to the viewers of Steady Droppin Dimes, because it's been something that we're growing over time, and we have aspirations of growing it even bigger. But that last episode, a lot of folks watched, at least for us. We had about what 30,000 on that episode. So getting there, man, getting there, growing it slowly but surely. Yep. I know there had to be a lot. It must have been a lot of Wheats fans in Jacksonville tuning in to the show.
I hope so.
Yeah, that was.
I'm gonna put it to you this way, Sam. Like, a couple of times, people from Columbus shot up. I met a couple of people out that's from Columbus, man, that watch the show, that love the show. So shout out to our Columbus folks.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't have no folks in Columbus, except my sister-in-law was living down there for a minute in the belly of the beast. So, but anyway, folks, welcome to Steady Droppin Dimes. You know how we do it. It's me with two brothers I love. Two brothers you guys love, but you know them in a different way. You know them on the field and on the court. I love these brothers off the field and off the court, and want to bring their opinions to you, their takes to you, talking Michigan a lot, but talking topics outside of Michigan too, which is what we did in that last episode that had so many people watching. This show is brought to you by our friends at Golden Limo. If you have transportation needs, they will get you there on time, every single time, in luxury and style with a safe driver. So if you're looking for luxury transport, whether it's airport or game day transport, you need to use one of their SUVs, aviators, or navigators. If you need to get in that mid-size group travel with their party buses or sprinters, maybe you have a special event, they even have a trolley. Or if you want to get into that large group transportation, like the Michigan football team and the Michigan basketball team, you can get in one of their luxury motor coaches. They can meet all of your transportation needs in Southeast Michigan, across the U.S., even internationally. When I landed in Paris about 8-9 years ago, when I landed in Rome, Golden Limo picked me up in both places. They can do the same for you. Tell you more about them a little later. Go to goldenlimo.com. But without further ado, the best athlete I've ever seen with my own eyes coming up, Tyrone Wheatley. You know him, the great Tyrone Wheatley. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
And my man, Daniel Horton, they putting some respect on your name, Daniel. Don't y'all know this man, was McDonald's All-America, came in, lit it up his freshman year. And the only reason why there isn't more attention on Daniel Horton's name was because that was a period where the sanctions kept the team from going to the tournament. Not only would you guys have gone to the tournament that first year, I think recruiting would have went through the roof. Yes. Even more as well if y'all didn't have those limitations, man. So put some respect on Daniel Horton's name.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. That arrogance, just like the dark ages, you know what I mean? Like we kind of set the table for some things that came later, but man, hey, we all Wolverines. I'm happy to be one.
Well, it had you guys sort of were the bridging of the gap from the sanctions to the Beeline era. Mm-hmm. Right, and the Beeline era, he got that to the tournament early, but round 2010, John will tell you, he's like, they wanted to fire me, and then things took off after that. I think John Beeline was the coach of the 2010s in the Big Ten. When you look at runs to the title game, Big Ten titles, first round draft picks, he was beating Izzo, he was beating Bo Ryan. He was beating Matt Painter. He was beating all those cats in all those categories. Mm-hmm. So, for all the things that they say, he was able to turn a corner in a way that I don't think enough shine is put on his name. But what he brought up when he was introducing Trey Burke, he said, hey, man, the coaches came here. When Juwan first got here, he went on a run. And now Dusty, when he got here, obviously he's doing well. It's like, you can do well at Michigan.
Yes.
And he shouted out Tommy. He said Tommy bridged the gap. Tommy stood in the gap. So he gave Tommy some love for the role that he played in getting from the lows back to the highs, Daniel.
Yeah, no, that's great of Coach Beeline for him to say something like that, because I know Amaker, if it got back to Amaker, he'd appreciate it as well, because those are some tough times, man. And I think to see where the program is now, like the culmination of, Amaker's hard work, Coach Beeline's hard work, Juwan's hard work, let me stop calling him Juwan, Coach Howard's hard work. You know what I mean? Like, to see where they are now, man, is great to see. And to see Trey Burke's number go up in the rafters, you know what I mean? That was great to see as well. Like, I think there's a few other guys whose numbers should go up as well, right? But to see Trey's go up, like you said, to kind of culminate all of the things that you mentioned that they accomplished during that run in the 2010s, man, especially back, was that 2013 was his year that he had that monster year, right? It's beautiful to see what Michigan basketball is right now.
Yeah, 2012 season, 2013 tournament.
Yeah.
And he put his stamp on the program. And, I've gotten into debates about this. I got into a debate with Tim McCormick. I got into a debate with other people. I got Trey on my list as one of the top 3 Wolverines of all time. Now, I don't think he's one of the 3 most talented. Well, even though he's really talented, I don't think he's one of the 3 most talented Wolverines of all time. But for what he did, and that was the springboard back to Michigan being a nationally relevant team. Yeah, they had made some tournaments line, but they weren't doing anything in the tournament. They had gone out in the first round the year before, fellas. And so Trey that year, college basketball player of the year, all the way to the championship game. Man, that put him up there, man. That put him up there with the top 3 to me. I don't know what you think, Dane.
I love Trey, so I'll start by saying this. And so anytime you have these type of conversations, right, somebody's gonna feel slighted or feel, but I think he's one of the all-time great players in the program. I wouldn't say he's top 3 though. Like, that's just me. I have so much, and that's nothing against him. I just have so much reverence for the older guys that came before us. So it's not even like, I'm not even arguing against him being top. You saying he top 3? I'm just saying, for me, I have so much reverence for those older guys, man. I kind of leave that where it is.
Yeah, I got reverence for the older guys too. I do. Man, Fab Five and T Mills get on me. He used to get on me for this. I'm like, man, that's my favorite team. He's like, we won it.
Hey, and then a guy like Rudy T averaged like 27 and 17 at Michigan, right? So there's been some great players that come through
here. Yeah, T Mills is like, hey man, we're the ones that won it.
Yeah,
let's talk about favorite team. You're gonna pick the team that didn't win, but it was their cultural. Not only did you have great players in that group, their cultural significance. It felt like, I say this all the time, it felt like you were watching the dudes across the street playing at Michigan, and being themselves at Michigan. Right. That was kind of liberating. It was inspirational to us. Like, man, you could go look at. That's us on the national stage. That's how it felt. So
I was in New Orleans, not even in Michigan, and we felt like that in New Orleans. Like my uncle, who's kind of around that generation, he was a Fab Five guy. You know what I mean? So he the one who taught me, hey man, the Fab Five, they wear black socks with black shoes and the baggy shorts. I knew about that before Michigan started recruiting me, right? And I grew up in New Orleans, so like you said, their cultural significance, like that's. You can't duplicate that. You can't recreate that either. That was organic.
Yeah, this is a bit of a tangent. I ain't gonna stay on the lawn, but you were on the yard at that time. Was it that big for y'all, or were they just the dudes over there doing their thing in basketball?
And they were Rolling Stones. I'm serious. They were Rolling Stones. I'll never forget the night when they were coming back from the tournament game, and State Street was lined up, and they were still, a couple of guys were still living in South Quad, and you swore they threw a party outside of South Quad. They were waiting for them to get back, and it was good. Like you're saying, Sam, like there was so many things that was iconic about those guys. Like you said, it took everyday things about what we did, and everybody talk about the shorts. I'll never forget. My days of playing basketball, and I would go in and I'd be like, I'm not wearing the John Stockton shorts tonight. And I would tell Coach, hey, man, order some 3Xs because I'm not wearing the Isaiah booty shorts. I'm not doing it tonight. Give me some shorts. And when they started doing it, but you have the other side that also would be like, why are they wearing their shorts so baggy? Blah, blah. And you'd be like, you get it and you understand it. And like you say, Sam, when you see those guys and they're out there, they're playing, they're doing the whole Mike Tyson bit where Mike Tyson came out with the black shoes, with the look, no sock look, with the black, that whole deal, you understood it and you got it. And for once, you kind of felt like who we are and what we are is being represented. And they play ball to the fullest, right? And the biggest thing was those dudes were like the Rolling Stones. And it was happy. I was glad to see them, the success they had. Personally, I'm gonna be a little selfish. I was a little upset when Chris jumped shipped early, but gotta go get the money, right? You gotta go do what you do. Yeah, you have to. I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm selfish. I'm selfish. All right, can I be selfish? I was selfish. I was like, dog, no, don't. Just give me one more. Just give me one more, baby. Just one more. But but just think if that team would have stayed together one more year. Yeah. Just one more.
I think they would have beat Arkansas.
Oh, it would have been ugly. It'd have been ugly, And so, but I mean, they were the Rolling Stones. They were. I mean, they were larger than life, man. They were larger than life.
Yeah, so I say that thinking that Chris Webber, you can make an argument for Chris Webber being the most talented player to ever suit up at Michigan. He was that good. Man, when he committed to Michigan, I remember I was watching a Tigers game. They broke into a Tigers broadcast to say that Chris Webber is going to Michigan. You got to remember those times. I mean, it's Wheat in football, Chris Webber in basketball, and they showing up at Michigan at the same time. Man, you talk about two of the greatest to ever grace the field and the court with their athletic prowess coming to Michigan at the same time. I mean, it was unbelievable. So for me to put Trey in my top three with Cassie Russell, Glenn Rice.
I was going to throw his name out there.
With the iconic jumper, baby.
Yeah. So that's four. That's four, Sam.
No. I don't have Chris in my top three.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's what. Because, and here's why. Like I said, Naismith Player of the Year. And remember, when Michigan made that run to the Final Four, the last time they were that relevant was like 15 years. I mean, no, 20 years prior. 20 years prior. When you talk about Final Four, good. 20 years prior. So to carry that mantle, and going out in the first round the year before, I mean, he took his game up several notches and was the best player. Now, their team was loaded. Make no mistake. It wasn't like it was just Trey. It was a bunch of first rounders on that squad too.
Yeah, for sure.
But he was the alpha. And you talk about big shots, big moments. Think about the steal against Keith Appling and at Chrysler.
Oh yeah, picked his pocket. Yeah,
man.
I remember that.
Obviously the big shot in down in Dallas against Kansas in the Sweet 16. Like, man, that dude. I just
he got some moments. He got some
incredible season for him. That's an incredible season. It's kind of hard when you talk about the top three and you start talking about tops. But I mean, I try to stay away from those things. But
because somebody always feels slighted, right? I don't know. I'm not trying to slight nobody.
I'm gonna put it to you this way: to leave Chris out of that thing, though, like
I'm not talking about talent.
No, I'm talking about in basketball, though. I'm just talking not in talent, because talent is one thing, right? That's something totally different, But we're talking about the momentum of the game,
right?
And here's once again, that's why for me, when Chris said he was leaving, I was like, oh my God. Now, not to say this and not to be disrespectful to anybody else, I still wanted all of them to stay. But if one of the other guys would have left early, you'd be like, shit. Oh, but that dog it. When Chris left, I was like, oh my God.
You're gonna be on Jalen's list now.
No, I'm saying but Jay was the general of that thing. Don't get me wrong. Jay was the point of that thing, but when that thing was rolling, Chris had to be on that floor.
Yeah.
Right?
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, and Chris was the most like we gonna be honest, Chris was the most talented player on that team. Chris was if you being honest, he's one of the most talented players ever come through the NBA, not just Michigan, right? So he's not like to leave him out of the top 3, Sam, that's a bit, questionable. But like I said, man, you're splitting hairs. Like Trey is a great player. Chris Webber was a great player. Rudy T was a great player. Cassie Russell is, the home that the house that Cassie built, right? Is named after. Jalen was a great player. You can go throughout the day. And so when you want to pick a top 3, for me, it's extremely hard. And I really don't want to do it because I don't want nobody to feel slighted. You know what I mean?
Well, but you can't. But you can't do it.
But I'll say this. What I will say, could none of them guard me. And I'm gonna leave it at
that. but let me ask. So let me do this. So like you said, Jalen would be bitch. No, I won't, because if you really think about it, Jalen was the heart and soul of that thing, and Jalen was the one really who constructed the look and everything, right? So, but at the end of the day, like one of my favorites, and he was on a great team that won it, but you had those guys. I'm Ramil Robinson all day long.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like. Come on now.
Ramil Robinson, Gary Grant.
Oh, G. Grant.
Ricky Green.
They will tell you. T. Mills said the team.
T. Mills.
Yeah, T. Mills said the team before the team that won it was better than that. He said the 88 team was better than the 89 team, which is crazy. But that's a man that was around for all of that. But
Antoine Jobert,
yeah, the judge. I forget the judge, man.
Y'all won't stand on the table. I mean, you won't pick 3.
I'm not picking 3. I'm not.
Get out there.
I can't.
See, I can't. I'm gonna give you my last piece of rationale. Fab Five, still my favorite team to this day. Chris Webber. I got his jersey up in my office.
Yeah,
that's the only basketball jersey in my office right now. It's Chris Webber. Like that dude.
We got to get changed that ASAP. I'm not about to sit up here. You got a Chris Webber jersey. You got another number 4. Well, now he's the number 4, so I'm not gonna do Chris. You need to get another number 4 jersey. How about that?
Hey, brother, we gonna
high rise, baby. Tell him
you're gonna have to get that done. But they came in 91. There was a down year the year before. But the year before that, I mean, it was Ramil, Terry Mills, Lloyd Vaught, Sean Higgins still around. They were still a squad. They got beat by Loyola Marymount in the second round. But they were just a championship team a few years before the Fab Five got there. So this wasn't a down program.
But you gotta understand something though. But here's the switch though. It's not the fact that. So yes, I understand what you're saying. A couple years prior, championship team. But was that the same 5 on the floor?
No. I'm saying
that's
so. Here's what I'm comparing. They came and carried on the prominence of the program at that time. They didn't have to build it up. Michigan hadn't been on a Final Four run in 20 years when Trey Burke.
I think that's easier.
Piloted that team to the Final Four.
I think it's a little easier when you become the Phoenix and you rise out of the ashes, right? Because there's no there's nothing. I think it's a little easier, right? I think it's a little easier. You got a little chip on your shoulder, but now all of a sudden you got to carry something that somebody else built, made for you. You got to put it on your shoulders. That's a little hard, right? But however, I just think the transition. I just look at it as something totally different because it was a totally different group of guys.
Okay,
it was a totally group of guys. And to boot, they were all freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all freshmen.
All freshmen.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Sam, I'm gonna tell you one of my favorite Wolverines of all time, and he doesn't get enough mention as far as we're talking basketball. When he graduated, he was one of 4 players in the history of college basketball to lead his school in scoring and rebounding 4 years in a row. And I feel like his jersey should be hanging in the rafters because he's another guy that came to Michigan at a time where it wasn't cool to come to Michigan, and that was Lavell Blanchard. Lavell Blanchard, when he graduated from Michigan, he was one of 3 or 4 players in the history of college basketball to lead their school in scoring and rebounding 4 years in a row. And now they know now guys leave, so that's. But back then that was a big deal, right? And I think for a guy like Lavell, he doesn't get enough love and respect for what he did.
Yeah, he get a lot of love and respect from us. Came from across the street, and that wasn't easy to do
Yep.
at that time. To stay in Ann Arbor, stay in Michigan. You look at dudes like Shane Battier. He was a country day dude. Didn't even take even the state. So
damn that in his recruit. Think about it, Lavell came in with Jamal Crawford and all those guys. By the time he graduated, of the scholarship players that came in with him, I think he might have been the only one left. So not only did he go through a bunch of turmoil and a bunch of change and a bunch of stuff that really had nothing to do with him, he stayed at Michigan, right? He stayed at Michigan, and he was a great player, through and through. So I think he's another guy that he's one of my all-time favorite Wolverines as well.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Present company, and I just said Chris Webber is my favorite Wolverine all time, and Glenn Rice is from my hometown. So it's like, man, you picking Chris? I'm picking Chris.
Man, Glenn cheated at the golf tournament this summer. He go down the notch on my just play, Glenn.
you put the significance of what he did on top of his talent and the run, and that's why I'm putting Trey up there. But anyway,
yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you.
That was a bit of a tangent. He got his jersey hung in the Raptors against Ohio State. Ohio State, they were, they had beat UCLA, I think, the game before that. So they were doing some good things. Dusty said he thinks they're a tournament team, but they were nothing like the team they just saw. Nebraska came to town. Fred Hoiberg's squad. He finally has it looking like when he had those squads at Iowa State, right? And so, but he was down some players. He was down Braden Frager. He was down Rink Mast. We knew Frager wasn't going to be there, but Rink Mast was like a, game time decision. Like, he can't keep food down. He can't play. And, man, when I say them dudes came out there gunning, Daniel, they are legit. Nebraska is legit. Like, it's nothing fluky about what they're doing. And so I'm curious your takeaways from that game because it plays into the big question for this segment of the show. But what were your takeaways from that game?
First of all, anytime you get a win this time of year in conference when you're fighting for a regular season championship, whether it's by 2 points or by 25 points, that's a big win. Especially, add on top of that, it being a top 5 matchup, coming in against a team that's undefeated and hot and playing really good basketball. It was a big time win for the program and kind of laid another marker down. Like, okay, the early part of the season, that wasn't a fluke. We're still here. We're still going to be competitive and win big time games. But there's some things that are, like we talked about before, some things that need to be addressed. And if they don't address them, it can it'll prevent them from getting to where they want to get to, right? And I think we were able to survive the early hot shooting from Nebraska, which I didn't think that would continue no matter how good of a shooting team you are. You're not going to shoot the ball the way they shot the ball the first half for an entire game, not against that defense, right? But I just think our guard play has to get better, right? If our guard play doesn't get better, all this talk about what we can and can't do, it'll mean nothing at the end of the day because I know Dusty talked about them competing and being more physical, and that's not the big guys, right? Morris Johnson, he's like, you're not gonna, he's down and doing what he's supposed to do. Yaxel is doing what he's supposed to do. Big Adimar is playing incredible basketball right now. So it's not the big guys, right? I think we have to become more physical on the perimeter. I think some of those shots that Nebraska made where they're running off screens and they're curling tight around screens, you have to be a little bit more physical in those moments to ride guys over the top of those screens and push the offense a little further out and make those shots longer, more contested shots. So I agree with Dusty 100%. The perimeter guys don't lock in mentally when it comes to taking care of the ball and preventing turnovers. And then lock in on the other end on defense and become a little bit more competitive and more physical on defense, it's going to be a long season because the guard play is only going to get better, right? Michigan State's going to come in here with a proven all Big Ten point guard, right? In fears, we got to see Braden Smith later on. We have to see. We have to play Nebraska again, right? So
only if they see him in the tournament.
Only in the tournament, right? So we have to see him again if we want to win the Big Ten tournament championship. So it's one of those things where we have to get better immediately on the perimeter if we want to continue this upward trajectory.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I wonder how much comfort they take. Who was that? I think it might have been Namari was talking about. Yeah, you got shot blockers behind you, so I'm, you know that they got your back at the rim, but that gets you in trouble.
Yes.
As much as it is a positive, it can be a negative if it affects you in your perimeter defense. Because I agree with you, Daniel. I agree with you. This is a rare occasion. I agree with you that the guards had they got outplayed thoroughly in that game against Nebraska. They're on both ends.
And it's been that way going back to the Wisconsin game, right? Blackwell and the other kid, they combined for almost 50 points going back to the Wisconsin game. Really going back to the Penn State game. So this is not just like a one-game thing, but go ahead.
Yeah, and so, to me, watching them play in the second, it was really toward the end of the first half. There was a sequence where, because, man, they were getting lost on switches. They were getting hung up on screens when they were in man-to-man. It was like, man, they were getting schooled on that end of the floor. And then late in the second half, or late in the first half, there was a sequence, man, where, first they were switching, didn't get lost on the switch. Then you could see them lock in man-to-man, and they were fighting through screens and anticipating passes. You saw Namari jump a passing lane, go down for an and one, right? And I was like, man, let's get some more of that in the second half. And Dusty said he felt like, it was Namari first who said he felt like they communicated better. They were more connected. And then to your point, Daniel, Dusty said, they're playing with more intensity on that end of the floor. Like, so fighting through screens, being physical and that kind of thing. You got to do that for 40 minutes though. And then you got to take care of the basketball for the whole game as well. Cause that was a very off night for Elliott as far as taking care of the basketball was concerned.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it doesn't take much for a coach to at halftime to be like, you guys need to lock in when you seen the other two guards for the other team basically, shoot their guns and blow them out the whole half because they've been, hitting threes, right? It doesn't take much for you to, as a competitor to lock in. It's like, hey, man, this guy busting my tail right now. I need to pick it up and kind of change this. And like we talked about before the show, you can see the ebbs and flows throughout the game and our team based on the guard play. It's based on the point guard play. In those moments where Elliott is in control and he's doing what he's doing what he does, you see Morris Johnson get layups at the rim. You see Elliott hitting threes. You see the offense flowing, right? But sometimes he kind of gets caught. I don't know if he gets caught up in the matchup with the other guard, but he definitely, like when Dusty said, the ball kind of stuck in his hands and we played through our point guard too much the first half against Nebraska. I kind of agree with that a little bit. The ball needed to move a little bit more and flow a little bit more that first half against Nebraska. So I agree with that with Dusty as well. I think that's one thing Dusty has that's why I feel confident that they'll fix whatever small issues they have going into the rest of the season. Because Dusty, when you hear him talk, he's as a coach and a player that's watching from the outside looking in, he's seeing the right things as the guy in charge.
Well, I tell you what, I just think the way Elliott has played this season, like that was, that hasn't been him. Like you talk about Johnson, Elliott was the best offensive player for Michigan in that game. Like he came up and he carried them for a stretch. Now it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough in the grand scheme of things, but this was, I don't know what it was between the defensive woes and all the turnovers. That's why I think he's going to play really, really well against Michigan State. Rivalry game. Jeremy Fears has been playing really well for them. Like this is a really good matchup. But someone, one of our viewers, Russ Fong says, any concerns with the half-court offense, Daniel? They weren't able to knock down their open threes. I know that.
Schematically, no. Right? Like we know schematically, if they're going to get open looks. They're going to get great looks at the basket. Over the overwhelming majority of the time, right? What dictates how well it flows or how well it works is the guard play. If the guards are taking care of the ball and moving the ball and executing the concepts and the things that they're trying to get accomplished on offense, the half court offense is as good as anybody's in the country, right? They're averaging 90 points a game, so I don't think the half court offense is a big issue unless you're turning the ball over, right? If you're going to turn the ball over, I don't care what team it is, your half court offense is going to stink. And so I think that's what this team, when they take care of the ball, they're getting shot attempts at the rim where they're making or missing. They're a dangerous team because they can offensive rebound with the best of them because of their size. But I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. But yeah, when they get those shots when they take care of the ball, those shots at the rim are much better, obviously, than turning the ball over. So
yeah, my thing would be taking care of the ball. That's an obvious one. But there's been this stretch here where they just have not shot the ball well. I mean, the 2 games prior to this one were the outliers in like the last 6 or 7, where they've been shooting in the 20s and low 30s from distance. 23%, as you see, producer Lance popped up on the screen. 23% from 3. That's a killer, bro. I mean, they lucky that they rebounded. They out rebounded them. Did well in second chance points. They can do that to a lot of teams, but to some of the better teams, which leads into our next question, and kind of the question for this part of the show. What team in the Big Ten poses the biggest threat to Michigan? I will assert, I believe Michigan is the best team in the Big Ten. I guess we will find out in some upcoming matchups, but who is the biggest threat to them that you see? And there are several top teams. You got Michigan State up there. Nebraska, obviously up there, and they weren't full strength of what they did to Michigan with Frager and Mast out. You got Illinois, you got Purdue. Those are the ones that you kind of look at as record-wise performances to this point in the season as being in contention for being the biggest threat. So if you had to pick one, Daniel, who would be in Michigan State, of course, who would be your biggest threat to Michigan at this point?
All right. So before to answer, I'm gonna go a roundabout way to answer that question, right? So you stated something earlier where you said that you don't think that our guards or Elliott or whoever have issue getting up and being ready for this game on Friday, right? Right. And that worries me, right? Because what I know about this game, right? In order to win how they want to win, you have to get up for the Penn States is just like you do the Michigan States, right? And that's a lesson that they'll learn as they move forward. But with that being said, I think Purdue and Illinois, if I'm picking 2 teams to give Michigan the most trouble, the Michigan State game is going to be what it is, right? It's going to be a dog fight, but I don't think they shoot the ball well enough at times or score the ball well enough to beat us in a conference championship race, right? They might win Friday, but I don't think they'll beat us in the conference championship race as a whole because they'll have other games where they struggle to score and they might not get out of there with a W. But like I said, the 2 teams I think are going to give us the most because Purdue, because they're used to winning. They have a point guard who's done a ton of winning at the college level, and Illinois because they have the size and the shooting ability and the scheme, I think, to kind of give, like you saw last year, their scheme offensively gives us trouble and what we do defensively. And I think this year with them adding the size and the shooting ability with the foreign kids that they've brought in, and then they have the Wagner kid, I think they're probably Illinois and Purdue are the 2 teams that I think are going to give us the most problem.
You got to pick one.
Okay, I'm going with Illinois. Going with the Flying Illini.
Yeah, I don't know what you think, Wheat, but let me chime in on this one.
I'm going with Purdue.
What I saw from Nebraska is scary. From the standpoint of I think that when they're full strength, I just think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna shoot 40+% from 3 in a big game. Now they came
way. They'll shoot that against us again.
Well, they won for 13 in the second half.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think the combination of the increased intensity on defense and then fatigue on their part, because they were down two of their guys. I think that lent itself to them coming not just down to earth. You know, they went to hell as far as the shooting was concerned. I don't think that's going to happen in a rematch. At the same time, I don't think Elliott will play as bad. I don't think Namari will go 0 for 5 or 6 or whatever it was from 3. And Yax, and this will get into something I want to know from you. You know, I think they need to come up with some ways to get him the ball in advantageous situations. His best looks came from 3. And I just, you know, that's not ideal. That's not the ideal setup. I say all of that to say, while Nebraska and their shooting, to me, and coaching, to me, stands above the rest, the scariest team, talent and production-wise, is Illinois, man.
Yeah.
It is Illinois. They got bigs who can shoot. And have you seen this freshman they got, Keaton Wagler? Man. Now, that's what primetime players in big-time games.
Yes.
This young fella against Purdue gave the Boilermakers 46. And Daniel, it wasn't on 36 shots. The dude was 13 to 17 from the field. I think he was like 9 to 10 or 9 for 11 from 3. He was unbelievable. So, hey, man, that combination of front court guys that can stretch you, a dynamic freshman that is already a go-to guy. Like, you do that against Purdue, you doing something.
Don't they have? They're using Peja Stojakovic's son a lot like Nebraska is using Sanford, right? Like, like he's hunting shots, and he's, I don't know how tall Sanford. I think he's about 6'5", 6'6", maybe. And Stojakovic is maybe 6'6". Stojakovic is bigger than him, right?
6'7".
Yeah, so it's gonna be, that's a challenge, man. That's gonna be a game that we're gonna have to be locked in for. And but I think with this team, man, the way they defend, like you said, they held Nebraska to 1 for 13 from 3 to second half. I don't think that was Nebraska was just missing. I think we were a lot more physical with those guys coming off those screens. We were like I said, we had a lot more body contact as those guys were moving, and we didn't allow them just cut and move as freely as they did the first half. And I think we contributed. We were a big part of the reason why they shot 1 for 13 from the second half and 1 for 13 from 3 to second half. So I think the way Michigan defends, and if they can improve the physicality on the perimeter, man, I don't really see. Even the teams that we named, I don't really see them beating us. I just think it's gonna be tough games when we play.
And worthy of note, that was at Purdue that Keaton Wagler gave them 46.
That's tough. That's tough.
Man, freshman dude. Like, bro, they got it all. Except
that is crazy. I had 31 at Mackey as a freshman. He had 46.
46. 13 to 7. Like this year, the draft is about to be loaded.
Yes.
Loaded. The NBA draft. So, you know, if you picking in the teens, you're gonna get a guy.
Don't you miss the days where some of them guys would be in college at least 2 years and you can watch them grow and really dominate and become, you know, now half of them it's a lot of them, right? So 8, 9, 10 of them, probably 4 of them will be what they're supposed to be, and the rest they'll be, you know, they'll have decent NBA careers. But I think if a few of them stayed in college another year, they'll be guaranteed to have NBA success.
Yeah, so I'm gonna use this to punt to Wheat. I said they have everything Illinois except a coach who's gonna get it done in the postseason, man.
All right, y'all.
Get it done in the postseason. So, I guess if we're talking about who's the biggest threat in the regular season, in the regular season, which is what we're talking about with, you know, with Big Ten, I would say Illinois. Once we get into any kind of postseason, be it the Big Ten tournament, so if we count that, and certainly the NCAA tournament, Brad Underwood is going to sink like a ship. You know, he had one moment of glory, doesn't erase all of those times where he.
Uh-oh.
See, that's the basketball guys right
You
there.
said the basketball guys got it. Huh?
Brad Underwood messing with my internet. If we were talking about going all the way, then I would say Nebraska, because I think, between the shooting they have and coaching they have, they'd be the biggest threat. But if we're talking about regular season, man, Illinois, bro. I mean, they got bigs who can stretch you.
Yes.
Coach guys, they got it all. So
for me, I like Purdue and everything Daniel said about Purdue. They have the bigs to match us. I think man for man, as we say in one football, with the 111th and the 1/5 in basketball, I think man for man, pound for pound, Purdue matches us. Here's the thing that also gets me, and I'm just go back to the element of physicality. So we talked about what we did to Nebraska in terms of taking that away in the second half, where they shot streaky because we were to fight through screens and fight through those things. Purdue will beat us physically as well. They can match our intensity physically. Illinois, yes, incredibly talented team, but at the same time, they're streaky, right? They rely on so much of just talent. I don't think there's much structure that goes along with it. So when you talk about, in the tournament games, I think that's probably why you talk about the coach. I don't want the basketball guys to give me a pause me, so I think that's the reason why they don't do so well in tournament time, because they just rely on just guys out there playing basketball, right? You go hit yours, you go get yours. We're going to go off of this, but systematically and schematically, I do like where we are Michigan-wise. Nebraska doesn't really scare me as much, even though if they were down and they wasn't 100%. They still, because once again, you're streaky, right? Shooting, got to be consistent. And we didn't move the ball well in the first half, and we played the zone. But once we came out of it, like you said, we started contesting those shots, and all of a sudden you got to adjust your shot, and you got to get there, and you got to get to your spot. I like Nebraska, but to me, Purdue, it's almost like we're playing and you relate to football. Hey, man, I can go out there and play a football game, and you're not a physical team. You're not going to beat us up. You just beat us because we turned it over. I'm cool. After a football game, I'm going to play hoop after that. But you get that team that coming in that's laying it to you and that's fighting with you and that's going to beat you up physically, that takes a lot out of you, right? Yep. And so I think Purdue matches us well, not only with the bigs and the strength, but when you talk about that physicality of the way they play, it's Purdue.
Yeah, I just don't – something about Purdue, they aren't –
It's not sexy to you, Sam. You like the sexy.
Hey, man, Matt Painter, I got a ton of respect for Matt Painter. Outside of Dusty, that's the coach I look to in the Big Ten. Like, man,
postseason success.
Yeah. He went on a run farther than Brad Underwood.
Yeah.
Oh, see, it's not sexy enough to you, Sam. Right?
I got respect for Purdue, but if
Purdue lacks a bit of athleticism on the perimeter that kind of holds when they play us. They like, especially the second game last year, we really exposed that about them. The first game we played them at Purdue last year, they kind of, like you said, Coach, they came out, they hit us first. It was a physical, hard-nosed Big Ten game, and we didn't react well to it, right? The second time we played them, though, we brought the fight to them, and it was a little different. When we played them in Ann Arbor, we brought the fight to them. It was a little different ball game, right? And so I think we kind of exposed their the Fletcher Lawyer kid and Braden Smith. They're good players, but they lack a bit of athleticism to kind of keep up with and deal with the guys that we have on the perimeter. So that's why I would put Illinois probably a little ahead of Purdue because of the lack of athleticism on the perimeter.
I understand. I got massive respect for Matt Painter and Purdue. I think Braden Smith, I don't put him in the same category as Fletcher Lawyer. Like Braden Smith,
he a dog.
Yeah, he a dog. He's a problem. Fletcher Lawyer, he's just a relative to the player, relative to Braden Smith.
He's just a guy.
The guy.
Yeah,
I know.
He's just a guy. So, but and they're gonna rebound. They're gonna be physical. But man, they just been, maybe it's them going out and losing to UCLA. Maybe that's what really got me. They lost. They lost after that to Illinois. But then this last one was a rivalry game against Indiana. Sometimes that's going in Bloomington. So I give them a pass for Illinois.
Mhm.
and I give them somewhat of a pass for Indiana. But the UCLA game, man, that's kind of like, bro. And
Yeah.
that's the only time Iowa State went in and busted them up. Like this just doesn't feel like the same level or caliber of Purdue team. I don't know.
Hey, coach, you gotta watch Sam, man. I'm telling you right now, as we progress through this steady dropping dimes era, it's 3 coaches that are gonna be looking for Sam at the local grocery store. Ryan Day, Brad Underwood, and Mick Cronin. And what four if you include Coach Izzo, because he's been looking for him for 20 years. He got 4 coaches that are looking for Sam Webb. They got people like, if y'all see him anywhere, call me. They are looking for Sam.
It's on site, huh?
Hey, man, Mick Cronin will complain about winning $1 million. I mean, he complained about everything. He beat Purdue and was complaining about the schedule. Like what, dog? You just what are we talking about? Why are we complaining at this point, Mick? This is after they went to Ohio. They went to Ohio State and lost to Ohio State. And he said, "Man, this is
Sam. He's gonna complain. You only giving him 1 vote."
Hey, he said,
right, half a vote.
we were horrible defensively, and they said, "What can you do about it, coach?" He said, "Nothing. It's hopeless." And don't you got to blame me because I recruited him and I can't trade him. So, this is just hopeless.
Hey, this man out of UCLA with a gazillion dollar NIL budget and complaining.
Hey, but
in Los Angeles.
He know how to push the buttons because after he said all of that about I can't trade these dudes, it's hopeless. They went out and beat Purdue. So
yeah,
he know how to push the buttons on his team. So we gonna see. But hey, speaking of Nebraska, went to Champaign, and because Mike Boynton was talking about, he's like it's a shootout, and really it's the last team with the ball. It won, and Nebraska had the ball last, and they won at Illinois. But that was the game where Sanford went off. He had like 32, and Rink Mass played well in that game as well. So I'm feeling, if we talking postseason, it's Nebraska. That's the team that they're gonna see down the line. We talking regular season, Illinois, man. You mark my word. That man, and you got a freshman that is still coming on. Like after you hit 46 against Purdue, this dude gonna be like he gonna think he can take over.
His confidence is through the roof right now. You got to deal with him.
Yeah, he's gonna be a problem. So this is gonna be an interesting one to see.
Well, let's just hope when he gets to come against us, his confidence is so high. He's shooting up the rainbows. He shoot himself out of game.
Shoot him out of it.
Yeah, yep. I hope that they can. Yeah, I want to see Yax have a game like that. I mean, not necessarily 46, but
is he hurt?
For 30. Yeah, his latest injury has been his calf.
Okay.
He hurt it. I think he hurt it before the Penn State game, and so he's been. He said he's been gradually getting better. Okay. This would be a time against Michigan State to really, really come out. Because think about the elements in the last game. I already mentioned it. Namari was 0 for 5 from 3. Elliott had his worst game of the season with 8 turnovers and some of the defensive issues they were having, and then Yax was 3 for 10 from the field. Like I don't think that combination of negative factors is going to manifest against Michigan State.
Yeah. So I'll say this, and I'll be careful because Will Wade just went on a rant a week or two ago at NC State about criticizing these kids because they're making so much money and blah 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 blah. So I won't go that far with it, but I will say that if he's hurt, then okay, that makes sense. But if you're it's like Coach, in football, it's the difference between being hurt and injured, right? So if you're injured, that's one thing. Like go get treatment, take the time off, come back and be the guy that we know you can be. But if you're injured, man, we got to get more out of you. That's just how I look when I watch him play. For him to be the best NBA prospect we have on the team, for him to be making the money he's making. I know people don't like when you bring that up with college kids, but I don't care. I play for free, right? Like when you making the money he's making, the role that he's carved out for himself on this team, he has to be more assertive and more aggressive. Like 10 shots is not enough. You know what I mean? Whether you're hurt or whether you're whatever, 10 shot, 3 for 10 from the field. That's you can go 3. You can only make 3 shots. I'm not mad at him only making 3 shots. I'm mad at him only taking 10. Right? So he has to be more assertive and more aggressive if we want to get to where we want to get to. He's
Yeah,
gonna
I can't
have
remember,
to step up and beat the
but
guy.
I think maybe 4 of those was from 4 or 5 of those are from 3-point range.
Yeah.
So, which gets to your point. Yeah, I'm looking for him in the Michigan State game to, get to that. For these are the moments
Yeah.
that you remember in these big games. So, looking for that from him, and looking for all 3 of those guys to play better against the Spartans.
Hey, he better be ready to get to it tomorrow. Hey, it's gonna be as this ain't I know you to play him, man. Don't get me wrong, he's been a great team. It seems like he's been a great teammate, great kid up until this point. Contributed a lot to where the team is right now, and really been the best player. But for what we trying to do and where they going tomorrow night, we need to go in there with 10 dogs.
Yeah, we'll get to some of your questions. People want to know. One of the questions was how can Trey get more minutes? We'll get to that a little bit later in the show because I want to get to this Michigan State topic. Before we do, producer Lance, why don't you give us a little golden limo? But let's just go with the Villian, not the Devin, not because Devin. If we play him on here, I never hear the end of it. So let's play the other one. Let's play the other one and tell the folks about Golden Limo.
I want to thank Sean for actually giving me the opportunity to be the ambassador for Golden Limousine. Them, actually seeing, what I can do for their company, and seeing like the story behind me, and being like, okay, I want this guy to represent, our company. I feel like Sean is, giving me a chance, seeing what I've been through, my story. He's given me a chance to, change my life around. When getting ready for a game, the last thing I want to worry about is am I going to make it there safe? And when riding with Golden Limousine, that's never a concern. When riding on the bus, I sit back and relax, go over the game plan, and make sure I always have my music. This allows me and my teammates to focus on the game and not worry about our safety. I can cover on the field because Golden Limousine has me covered on the road. The first thing I notice when riding with Golden Limousine is before I even get in the vehicle, the driver comes out and grabs my bags for me. And then when getting into the vehicle, I see that the vehicle is spotless, I have my water, and the attention to detail is second to none. I got with Golden Limousine because of their professionalism, and to be honest, they just got my back. Sean gave me an opportunity after hearing my story. He decided to give me this opportunity of partnering with Golden Limo. I appreciate the way Golden Limousine handles their business by doing the little things right all the time, no matter what it is. The attention to details is the same way that I handle my business on and off the field. I appreciate Sean and Golden Limousine for seeing those things in me, and that's why I'll always ride on Golden Limousine.
All right, fellas, Michigan State. The Spartans are the opponent for the Wolverines to close out the week. They're a top 10 team. It got me to thinking about rivalry stories. Because last year they had their senior day. And I guess you're supposed to stand you're supposed to stand off to the side or something on senior day up at East Lansing because they all run and they, I guess, kiss the S or something or kiss the spot. I had no idea that there was a tradition for Michigan State. And so they were all beside themselves. They feeling disrespected. Dusty was like, man, don't nobody know what they do up there. Don't nobody know what they do up there. It's like, hey, whatever. You know, we were just there to play basketball, just standing and letting them have their ceremony. If they want to get upset about that, that's cool. Dusty, this is the one time I kind of see a little edge come out about Sparty, because, you know, he also beat Michigan State for Trey McKenney. We'll talk about Trey coming up. Mm-hmm. But you fellas, you've been in the arena, so to speak, with the Spartans. I always hear, this has been the case on the football side of things, where they say, you know, the matchup with Ohio State, that's a heated rivalry. But then they say Michigan State, that's a dirty rivalry. They do all kind of dirty stuff to you on the field. So I want to know, has that been you guys' experience? Give me your Michigan State rivalry stories. Let's start with you, Wheat.
Oh, Lord. So, listen, always just trying to be respectful. I think I was kind of talking about this early. You know, early in the game, they would throw some cheap shots. But I'm just being honest, during my era, they just kind of they were very calm. It was just kind of like, hey, yo, let's get off the field. Let's not make this thing any uglier than what it could be. And, you know, that was it. And so my freshman year, we played in East Lansing. And I'm just like, this is the game. Like, this is a rivalry. I didn't feel that, you know. So in high school, I played against Highland Park. That was a rival. Inkster High, like, that was a rival, right? So I'm thinking this is Michigan State, and it's going to be this big old deal, man. It was kind of quiet. I was like, all right, just never felt it. So unfortunately, people, I'm sorry I don't have anything, but I mean, for us, it was Notre Dame, Ohio State. Michigan State was, it was an in-state rivalry, but for me, it was just kind of like, hey, let's get this game over with and let's go home.
What was your record against Michigan State, Wheat?
Oh, geez, man. We might have lost my freshman year, but I think we were 3-1. We may have lost. No, I think I was 4-0.
4-0?
I think I was 4-0. That
would have been 91 to 94?
Yeah. Oh, Sam, goodness gracious, man. You taxing the memory right now, brother.
Check that out, Lance. Check out Michigan's you know, what happened 91 through 94 in the Michigan State game. You got to be the only Michigan player I've ever heard say that it was a respectful game. I've never heard that before.
I'm just saying, from my point of view, like, of course I was in the game, right? I didn't have anybody gouging my eyes out, doing anything extra. Like I say, it was pretty.
Who's going to pick a fight with the Mack truck with the football in his hand?
It was pretty chill, man. Like, I'm serious. I'm just like, it wasn't Notre Dame. Do you understand what I'm saying? It wasn't Notre Dame, Michigan. Like, Notre Dame, Michigan, my freshman year, walking out that tunnel, Chris Zordich was standing, because, you know, the locker room's faced like this. Chris Zordich was standing there, like, his neck was the same size as his shoulders. Like, he was standing there looking at us like, we about to get it. It was like, you felt that Notre Dame game. You felt it. Like, and it was it popped off the season. You felt that game. Like, that was like, whoa. As a freshman, I was like, damn, okay, this is serious. Like, let's go get it. Michigan State, I'm just saying, for me, I didn't feel that same intensity. I didn't feel that, like Mike Hart called him little brother. I didn't feel that real disdain that everybody else felt. I felt like it was an in-state rivalry, but it was another game.
Daniel made a point. It might have been, because they like, hey, man, you can't mess with Bo Jackson over there.
He was smashing our faces in since high school.
So, but, you know, like, you know, Ohio State, once again, that's that's a whole nother ball game, right? But I just never felt that. Just never felt it.
Daniel
Yeah,
Horton.
that's the guy. He'd been beating up on the Michigan State guys since high school as an in-state guy. So they like when he got to Michigan, everybody, Michigan State, Central, everybody knew like, hey man, leave that dude alone, man. But yeah, nah. For me, man, I got two stories. So one was at the McDonald's All-American game my senior year. We're getting on the elevator. My dad and I on the elevator. Paul Davis and his brother and dad, they all get on the elevator. And his brother say, "Hey man, aren't you kid? You going to Michigan, ain't you?" And he was like, I was like, "Yeah." And so like, I'm not a friendly person by nature. So I'm not like when they got on, nobody spoke. You know what I mean? Like I knew who he was. I'm not gonna speak to you. I know you. I know you're going to school. So his brother breaks ice. Hey man, aren't you going to Michigan? I was like, yeah. He was like, hey, have fun losing to Michigan State 4 years in a row, basically. And me and my dad looked at each other like, first of all, man, like I don't know what type of games y'all play in Michigan, but you'll get knocked out on this elevator talking too much. So, but I was like, oh, okay, cool, we'll see. And so they got off the elevator, went to their room, we went to our room. And so my freshman year comes around, we played Michigan State one time. The Big Ten schedule's always funky like that. So we played Michigan State one time the year in Ann Arbor, and we're going. It's a tight game. It's a loose ball. The ball is rolling down the other end of the court in front of their bench, and me and Paul Davis are basically in a foot race that he's never going to win to get to the basketball. I get to the basketball. I get the ball. I pick it up, go lay it up. He fouls me. I get the and one, and Izzo just like they talked about it in the media afterwards. Izzo just lost his mind on the sideline because one of his players got beat to a loose ball, right? And he's just going out. Paul is damn near in tears on the sideline. He's going crazy. So, and we end up winning the game, right? So that for me, my freshman year, that was probably the biggest game of my life just because of what happened on the elevator. Like where I'm from, nobody's talking crazy to me. Nobody's like we go compete and we go play hard, but like the Horton family, like we go play, we're not gonna talk to them. We gonna leave them alone, right? So for him to do that on the elevator, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So getting that W as a freshman was pretty sweet. And then the second story is my senior year now. Flip, we've been through everything we've been through over the course of those 3 years. So before the game, this guy's in the front row with his girlfriend. Hey, Horton, you like my girlfriend? You want to give my girlfriend a kiss? You want to do like just messing with me, right? And so I look over and I blow a kiss. I look at his girlfriend. I blow a kiss at her, right? He loses his mind, saying, Horton, I'm going to kill you. You blow a kiss on my girlfriend, I'm going to kill you. And so he comes out on the court. He follows me. So we're in pregame warm-ups. I go sit down. He follows me. He's following behind me, walking to like confront me about me blowing a kiss at his girlfriend. Amadou Ba trips him. He stumbles and turns around and looks at Amadou like he's going to confront Amadou. Before he can say and do anything, Amadou is almost 7 feet tall, right? Amadou pushes the guy so hard, Sam, he falls, boom, hit his head on the court, he's out. There's a student that came out the stands and has confronted us on the basketball court. And Amadou basically pushed the kid down, knocked him down. He's out on the court. The ambulance, they bring the stretcher and they stretcher the kid out the arena. We end up getting our tails kicked that game, and Amadou gets suspended for a game. I had to take Amadou out for lunch. Hey, bro, yeah, they suspended Amadou.
Dude was on the court.
Yes.
Dude was on the court, and he got suspended.
And Amadou got suspended.
Y'all on the court? What kind of garbage is that?
Hey, Amadou tripped him, and he almost fell, Sam, and just set him off again. And that was like I've never been. I've played overseas. I played in some really crazy leagues all over the world. Man, I've never had a fan come out the bleachers and walk onto the court.
Wow, that's gutsy, man.
Yeah, nah, he paid the price for it, but
if a fan walks up on the court and is threatening you or your teammates, and you push him, how the hell you get suspended for that? Man, that's some garbage. That's some stuff right there.
Nah, it was bad. Dude hit his head pretty hard though.
Yeah, he got what he deserved. I hope the dude didn't pass away, but he got what he deserved, getting knocked out, getting pushed down. Once you up on the court, messing with dudes who I mean, as far as physical prowess. That's got you, bro.
Yeah.
Like they're on the court for a reason versus you being in the stands. Like,
yeah. Hey, I'm gonna do a 6'11", 7'2", every bit of 250, 260. So like when he pushes you full force with two hands, it's like you being hit with a battering ram. So it man, it was bad, Sam. So those are my Michigan State stories. I have more that are not, that I can't tell them on air because I don't want to embarrass anybody. But this is, that's I tell people all the time, man, there's 3 schools that I hate the most. Ohio State, well, not Ohio, DeSoto High School, Michigan State Spartans, and Ohio State Buckeyes are 3 schools I hate the most.
Yeah. I throw Ohio State and Michigan State up there. I don't have no problem embarrassing nobody. So,
man, listen, I'm gonna just say this, like I said, Michigan State, I don't really have any issues with them. I don't.
So I'm gonna make you have an issue.
I don't.
I'm gonna make you have an issue.
Because like here, the crazy part about it, so Neil Coleman,
you supposed to. I mean, we brothers. You're supposed to have my back. And
I do have your back.
Well, I show up and I say we got to go get some Spartans. You don't even ask me why. We just go. We just go.
Sam, and listen, I'm gonna put it to you this way, Sam. If that's the case, I'm rolling. I got you. But then that's Sam, like, but all beef ain't good beef, right? You just got to say certain things. Like, you know what? Let's just say that, Sam. Let's say them blows for later.
I will give you an imbalanced situation, right? I obviously have never played college sports. I've been in the media for 20 plus years now, 25. So, have established somewhat of a name, but about 20 years ago, I didn't really have a name. Was basically a nobody on the scene outside of the Michigan fans who were subscribing to the site. I told this story on another show, but I'll tell it here. Michigan was recruiting Deshaun Sims. Tommy did a hell of a job recruiting Petey, right? Petey wanted to go to Michigan. His mentor was the name. You remember Coop? Was Coop around when you were here? Mm. He used to be one of the assistants at Persian. He would take Petey everywhere.
Yep.
Right. And so he was definitely he was basically the guy who would take him on all the visits to Michigan, all the visits to Michigan State. He may have even gone on some trips with him outside of the state. But push came to shove, we would speed through the recruitment. In the end, I remember Coop saying Petey was at like a park or something. Izzo showed up. Just to, he's pulling out all the stops to make sure that Deshaun Sims comes to Michigan. But in the end, Petey said, I'm going to Michigan, right? Izzo goes apeshit. Yeah, I mean, he just, how could you do this? Why did you lie to me? You made it seem like we had a chance. Just going off on the kid, right? Going off on Coop. Like, y'all lied and, you wasted my time and all this stuff that he's saying to Coop and Petey because they went to Michigan. So Coop calls me about it after. And he's since passed away, so rest in peace, Coop. And he was like, man, you won't believe, Izzo was just beside himself. Like, we personally offended him going to Michigan. Right? And so he's like, man, and Petey was, wow, bro. He really liked Izzo. And Izzo, the way he went off on him, man, Petey is kind of upset about that. So I had heard that story. I wasn't the only one. I guess they must have got to Rob Parker some kind of way. Y'all remember Rob Parker? Mm-hmm. So Rob Parker goes on the radio and talks about Izzo being classless. And, Izzo don't know how to talk to me. He's saying all kind of stuff about Izzo, right? I wind up going on an interview with Dennis Fithian, who was the host of the afternoon show at the time, talking about the significance of #1 player in Michigan committing to Michigan. And he said, hey, I heard something about Izzo, reacting negatively towards Deshaun. And I said, hey, I'm not going to even talk about that. What you heard. I will talk about who I know reacted graciously. And that was, I was talking about Rob Murphy. Rob was an assistant at Syracuse. Yep. Murph was like, congratulations. Petey, go do you, go be great. just like when you lose a kid you've been recruiting, form a relationship with, that's what you do, right? You wish him luck.
You never know.
That's the only thing that I said about another coach, right? Obviously, Rob Parker is on Sports Final Edition in Detroit, killing Izzo. Like he did, look at how this dude and classless and all of that. I go off on a cruise. When I get back from the cruise, I got like 8 voicemail messages from Tom Izzo, right? I heard you were talking about me. Call me back so we can discuss. That was the first message. By like the 4th message, he like, don't you know I'm a Big Ten coach? Don't you know you're supposed to call me back? By the last message, he said, listen, if you don't call me back, I'm going to have to go over your head. Right? So, hey, I'm on a cruise. I'm not getting any of these messages till I get back. And I'm listening to them all in succession. Like, this dude is nuts. This dude is crazy. And I was itching to call back because the last message after Izzo was from their SID. And he was like, hey, Coach Izzo really wants to talk to you. If you don't call him back, we are going to have to take this to another level. And I'm like, first of all, I ain't break no laws. I know I didn't do that, let alone even say the man's name. So I am hot because he thinks, not because he called me, because he thinks I'm ducking him. Like, it's like, this dude actually thinks I'm ducking him. Man, I'm still on the boat. We're in dock, and I called him back. Right? I can't let this man think I'm ducking him. So I called him back, and I said, hey, man, I got all of these messages about, he wanted to talk to me. He said, yeah, I heard you were talking about me. I heard you had some things to say about me. I said, no. I didn't even say your name in the interview. Man, I'm being very deferential, being very collegial, which is a lot for me. So I'm like, no. I never even said your name. I talked about who I heard reacted graciously. It's like he didn't even hear me say that. He just said, I don't think it's right for you to be all in the media talking about, me and talking about what I said and how I reacted. I think that's a real chicken shit thing to do. And I'm like, so now I'm like, okay, if I really wanted, you think that's chicken shit. If I really wanted to go at you, I could have said how you really acted. Because I know how you was getting down. And so if this is a issue, if you got an issue with the truth, then I don't know what to tell you. But I didn't say your name. I wasn't ducking you by not calling you back. And if we got a problem, then, hey, man, then take it to who you got to take it to. Because basically tell him I ain't scared. I didn't do nothing. First, I didn't say nothing. But second of all, I damn sure ain't scared of you. So, man, I wind up talking to Tom Wyrot. Tom Wyrot was the one that gave me my number. I said, Tom, come on, man.
T-Dub.
Come on, T-Dub. Why you get this man my number? Because he wound up hanging up on me at the end. It wasn't no okay.
No understanding at the end.
No olive branch.
He just hung up on me. And so, it was always I could kind of feel, I don't know if he just walks into Michigan games like this anyway, but I think it was the next year they were at Michigan and the room was kind of crowded, but not so crowded that he couldn't walk by me.
Yeah.
And he walked by me and gave me one.
Ooh, shoulder check, lane check.
Now, that's how it felt to me. I don't think I'm embellishing, but
you might be.
Like, hey, man,
a little bit.
This could have been easy for you not to buck me, right? But he just walked over by. So, hey, man, since that point, the one thing I respect is whoever he got a problem with, he gonna confront him.
Yeah.
Even if it's a low-level blogger at the time, he gonna confront him. But what I didn't respect, like, hey, man, when you wrong, take the L about being wrong. Because I told him during the call, I said, you got a problem with what Rob Parker said. Because Rob actually called me about it.
And shout out to Rob. Shout out to my man Rob.
Yeah, Rob called me about it. And he was like, hey, Izzo's on the warpath. He shouldn't be on the warpath with me. I don't know what that was all about, but I guess he must have said something to Rob too at the same time. But that's been my experience. This Izzo that everybody else know. I don't know that time Izzo. I know the time.
You know what?
Be on the phone.
And I think he does probably take the Michigan State thing a little, as he should. But Sam, at the end of the day, man, you're Michigan. You represent the maize and blue, and you're gonna get it. But you're telling me, Sam, though, is rolling with you. I'm gonna catch some strays. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you will.
Yeah, you catch some strays.
Hey, Coach. But this is the thing, though. I'm gonna ask Sam the same question I asked him the last time he told me the story about a 5'3" dude shoulder checking him. What did you do after that?
Man, we in the press. I just laughed.
That's the friend I am. Hey man, so what happened after that?
I just laughed. I was like, hey man, we in the press room. You come on, man. You could have just walked right on by.
Oh no, he wasn't walking by. You know that.
Hey Sam,
I've been calling you. You're not answering my phone. You're not answering my calls. I've been calling you. I heard what you said. So, I'm a lane check you.
It was a year later by the time this happened.
Hey, from what I understand, there's no expiration date on hate.
Like I said, man. So, Rivalry, the only nice thing I can say is my man, Sadie Washington, is an assistant coach over there. That's my dog. I don't care where he's at. Even though he's in East Lansing, that's still my guy.
Nah, he's a good dude.
But
super good dude.
But you know what though? I grew up a Michigan State fan. I did.
What happened? Why didn't you go?
I grew up a Michigan State fan. I had a Michigan State, bedroom set, curtains, pillowcase. I was a Lorenzo White, Dre Rising. Man, I was a true green and white. Go Sparty. Listen, my senior year, I had one visit planned, and that was Michigan State. And I was going to commit on that visit. My grandmother didn't really like the Michigan State coaching staff. She wasn't feeling them. She was like, every time they call, she was like, all they ever just says, yes. And she's saying, you over there just eating it up. And she looked at me, she was like, is that the place for you? She said, you know you need a little structure. Is that the place for you? I said, Grandma, this is a great place. I'm going on this visit. I'm going to kick it. Okay, cool. So I'm not saying any names. Go on a visit. I'm hanging out. I'm having the time of my life. You talk about, brother, set it out, had a great time. How can I say this? Let's just say the next day, a certain player of a certain sport was caught with a copious amount of marijuana in his car. And then some players got into a shootout with the locals. Man, it got back out. My grandma looked at me and was
Grandma
like,
said no.
Nah, ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. So at that point, I had no visits. I was like, I only said that one. I had canceled Tennessee and all these other ones. And Moeller, man, did a hell of a job recruiting me. Like, he just kept pursuing. And really, he won my grandmother over. He won my grandmother over. Mike McCarthy came from Colorado. This is when he left Michigan, went out to Colorado. He came all the way to the crib. My grandmother looked at him and she said, baby, you can have this conversation on yourself. She went in the back room, left me out there with Coach. Any other coach that came by the house, that was it. She loved Moeller, and she was like, there's only one man I'm talking to, and that's it. Moeller. So
that's some great recruiting right there.
Yeah, that was it, man. And so, but at the end of the day, I knew I needed the structure. You know what I'm saying? I knew I needed it, man. I knew I needed it. I ain't gonna lie to you. If I'd probably went any place else, I'd probably been at the crib, man.
So
I'd probably been at the crib.
So Michigan kept you on the straight and narrow.
Yes,
Grandma knew this, as they often do.
But when we getting this get back, Sam, hey, 20 years is a long time to wait for a shoulder bump, bro. We gotta get our get back at some point.
I was like, oh man, this is hilarious. Like, hey, man, you making probably $5 million a year at that time. I don't know how much. Like, come on, man, you can't have this. you can't have this much energy for people who ain't, directly affecting you. I wasn't even Michigan State media. Like, come on, bro.
Hey, if you want me to bump him for you, I will. I go to Breslin. I fly up there and bump him tomorrow if you need me to.
Hey,
you
man,
gotta get back.
Every time Michigan get him an L, man, it feel extra sweet. Every time they don't even know it. I was like, you doing it for me, you don't even know it. It feel good every time you stick it to Izzo. So, no, man. Just wanted to get a couple quick questions in as we get out of here. Daniel and Wheat. Trey McKenney.
There you go again.
Oh,
as my grandma would say, there ain't nothing but Jesus.
You about to ask something crazy.
Story. He didn't take too kindly to Trey not even putting Michigan State on the final list. I was talking to his dad, John. He was like, man, this dude, he was like, hold up, homie. Like, hey, man, you can't, we ain't do nothing to you personally. He didn't say this to me, but the impression I got, it was almost like, hey, man, watch how you talking to me kind of thing. Because that's, he don't take kindly to taking these recruiting L's to Michigan. Like,
hey, hold on, wait. He put that. I saw that leprechaun up there. Who did that?
That's producer Lance, man. That's producer Lance.
But at the end of the day, let me ask you. But in all honesty, though, whether you're playing the game, but it's still the game outside the game or the game within inside the game, right? You lose to Michigan, and you lose a recruit, especially a top recruit in the state. That's still an L.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's still an L. Because that cat is not on your roster. That cat is not there to help you beat Michigan.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, what is it?
Wheat is my all-time favorite Michigan football player. Can y'all tell him for me, please? P-Dot.
I hear you, my man. I appreciate you, P-Dot. Thank you, my man. But it's still an L, man. It's still an L. It is still an L, no matter how you take it. And I think losing the recruit in state, especially in state, I think hurts sometimes as much as the game hurt. Because if you lose a recruit in state, then you win the recruiting war. And if you win in the recruiting war, then that ultimately leads to what? More wins.
Yep.
So I think that hurts a little bit more than the game does.
Yeah. And you had Dusty coming in the door. This was like year one before he even coached the game. He getting that kind of traction with a dude from Flint of all places.
Yeah, right. So he's kind of put his planted the Michigan State flag in that area of the state.
Yeah, that's kind of by default. Michigan is the University of Michigan Flint. Everybody who could go to Michigan went to Michigan.
Right.
Kind of how it went. But anyway, so I guess I can't speak for Andre Rison like that, right? But
the Flintstones changed that narrative a little bit.
Yeah, other than him. But I think this is gonna be a big game emotionally for Trey. Right? You pick Michigan over Michigan State. Izzo kind of didn't take too kindly to it. Let's see how the young fella does. And he did well, really well against Nebraska, Daniel. So you had a situation where you talked about the guards not playing well. This dude came off the bench, hit a couple big threes, had that big – he got fouled on a three-pointer, knocked down all 3 free throws, and then that drive and bucket at the end. Like, that dude came up and gave them a huge lift off the bench.
Yeah, he did. And I would be careful about advocating for him to play starters minutes or more minutes with him being a freshman, right? And even though he's a very talented freshman, I just think the role that they have him in right now is good for his development, right? Have him come up there. He's only really thinking about one thing, and that's shooting and scoring, right? When he touches the ball, it's either going up or he's attacking, right? If you put him out there in a different role, and say maybe you put him at point guard, you put him as the other ball handling guard, now you're asking him to play a little bit of a different game where he has to kind of read and analyze the game a little bit more, which naturally takes away from some guys' aggression, right? So with this team, with the way this team is constructed, you need him to do what he's doing now. Come in and be an offensive punch off the bench, look to get shots up, look to get especially 3-pointers, considering how we shot the ball from 3. Look to get 3-pointers up, look to attack closeouts. So I think he's really good in that role for now, right? I think as he grows and matures, obviously they'll ask him to do more, but I would be careful about asking him to do that tomorrow night against Sparty, in his first time against him. So, let him
Don't
stay where
expose him.
let him stay where he is and let him stay in the role he's in right now. Come out there and he's I don't want to say he's perfecting that role, but he's been really good in that role lately. So let him continue to do that and continue to grow.
Yeah, Justice Jinx with the super chats. I got to throw this up before he goes. Have any of you, specifically Tyrone, met the staff or your impressions, especially as a coach? Would you ever come over from Wayne State to coach? I don't know if you want to tackle that one, but what you think? You met any of these guys on this new football staff?
Yes, we right before the Ohio State game, they had the introduction of the staff for the donors and some other people. So I was there. I had to get a chance to meet them. Like I said, for me, really good guy, demeanor, cut from the cloth of what Michigan is used to in previous years. A lot of people was like, well, he's not a Michigan man. And I always said, you have to understand, Bo wasn't a Michigan man, but he built the ideology of what a Michigan man was and what he built it into. And, Coach follows that same cloth. He follows that same grind. And I like him. He puts a good staff together. I like all the guys. The one thing about a lot of people don't really realize is the head coach, right? He's the head of it. But kind of going like to Kurt Signetti, the props got to go to the assistant coaches because the assistant coaches has to be bought in. All one tune, all one saying. And it seems like his staff, seems like when you talk to the staff, they're all saying the same thing. They're all in line. They're all in tune. And that's what I wanted to hear. There are no hidden agendas. There's nothing. And they walk as one beat. I know it all sounds cliche-ish, but you really can see it. And they are bought into his message. They are bought into what he wants to provide for Michigan. And that's a good feeling. That is a good feeling.
So the two guys from the new staff that I am, acquainted with, I haven't met any of the other guys yet, but the dudes that, I got connections to and have been talking to are Gennaro, the corners coach, Lewis Powell, the defensive ends coach. So Gennaro, he's going. I think the in-state coaches are going to love him because he comes. He's just I think they're going to be able to relate to him really, really well. Lewis Powell has been one of the top recruiters out west, low key, for a long time. I think Lewis is going to kill it. I call it Lou. You get mixed up with the Lou's because you got Lou Esposito and now Lewis Powell. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna have to call one of y'all. I'll call him Espo, and then Espo and Coach Lou is how I distinguish. But those are the two guys from the new staff that I don't, the other ones I got to get more acquainted with. But those two guys I have connections to coming in the door.
And then one of the biggest things that also impressed me was just of the character and who they were able to really retain because some of those players who went to the portal, they were able to go in and get those guys and bring them back, retain some of the roster to recruit the roster back. Shows that that they're making a big hit, big push, character-wise on these guys. And like I say, I like them, and like anything else, you have to give them time. I know we're fans. I know we have expectations and standards, but however, we still got to give them time to get and implement their things, what they want to get implemented, and give them time.
Absolutely. All right, we gave y'all some overtime there. I hope you guys have fun on this show. Hopefully next time we come back, we talking about a Michigan State loss. I'm hoping.
Yes, sir.
Oh, listen, man, we got Ohio State. Get the Michigan State.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll talk about it the next time on the next edition of Steady Droppin Dimes. We'll see you then, folks.